Well, hello, my paranormal peeps, and welcome back to another Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. Today we have an amazing fellow Bigfooter and author, Kev. He writes the children's books about Bigfoot. He's very into action, adventure, and he's a lifelong Bigfoot enthusiast. So we're going to have him come on here and talk about his book a little bit and tell us about himself and what got him into Bigfooting. So without any other ado, Kev, would you please tell us about what got you into Bigfooting?
Yeah, hey Matt, thanks for having me on the show. So the initial, I think, bite of the Bigfoot bug came back in about 1995 when the internet was just getting going. And one of the very first websites I went on to was the BFRO, Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization website. From there, it was really any and all clips I could find involving Bigfoot, but I would say possibly even before that, I gotta say it was Harry and the Hendersons. I mean, that was just such an epic movie with John Lithgow, and it was just one of those movies that actually captured what a lot of Bigfoot experience, people who've had Bigfoot experiences, is all about, where a hunter will see its eyes and it's so human like where you couldn't pull the trigger, or you know just having this kind of connection with nature as it did with like the dog, if you will. But it just was one of those movies where it definitely, I think, led to where I'm at now, which is just a full blown Bigfoot nerd, which is what I'll call myself.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I love that movie. That movie first came out, I was like, oh yeah, gotta watch this. Everybody's like, you gotta watch that movie. You're into Bigfoot.
Yep, 1987.
Yeah.
So good movie.
Yep, I wasn't a Bigfoot believer then, but soon after, oh yeah. So yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's right.
anyways, have you ever had any encounters with Bigfoots or seen a Bigfoot or?
I've had a few Class B encounters. Class B meaning, heard, gotten growled at. We had a tree get knocked down on Los Alamos, New Mexico. And then we also, I mean, heard the walking, heard the lumberous walking after the tree got knocked down. But then also an interesting one was a little bit, I think, unique. In fact, was out in near Mount Hood area, and what we captured on audio, which I believe was a baby Sasquatch blowing raspberries
Oh,
up in a tree.
wow.
So this was at night. There was a couple of us, I would say maybe like five-ish, four people tops, maybe.
Mhm.
But we were kind of going down this trail with one of the like what pretty predominant Bigfoot researcher. This was his kind of territory, so we were going down a trail. Um, and one of the fellows that I was with kind of made a really loud knock. Everything got real quiet. But then just this one tree started creaking and swaying. No other tree was creaking or swaying. We all kind of took pause and noticed it and kind of almost formed a half circle around it, just where the trail line was. The other half of this tree was like just, out in the bush there, but into some thickets. But we started looking at it, and sure enough, I started hearing this like a baby would do, blowing raspberries. And it was just one of those things where I caught it on audio, and there was one woman there who was talking in like a kid, a very baby like voice. And then there was four guys, myself included. We said, okay, we're going to let you talk to this thing. We're going to move down the hill, or, down this trail. And she started bringing out all sorts of like she just happened to have baby toys like on her,
Oh
which
my
was
gosh,
miraculous. Yeah, I was like,
that's
what is going on
crazy.
right now? Like a slinky, like a little rattle, baby rattle. And I was like, what is going on? So, you know, that was the extent of it. I was with a family member there, and they said that they caught like a heat signature way up in the tree, but it was very, because of all like the branches and all sorts of stuff. Like it was real blobby, so you couldn't quite make it out. But it was just the idea that this tree was creaking. I heard this raspberries being blown. Everything else, Matt, was just silent in the forest. And I was like, you had that feeling that mama or big brother or big sister are perhaps around. And like,
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
you just had that feeling. But those are the two more exciting times that I've had out there.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I go down to a place where I think there's juveniles, and I'm sure mom and dad are around somewhere.
You got to wonder, or at least like a babysitter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
drop them off for the day and go pick them up at night or whatever they're doing. You stay here. Stay on
Yeah, well, and it's kind of interesting because when we walked past that same area, that same tree on the way out to kind of a different investigation point, and there was a barred owl that had gone off. And candidly, I'm not an expert on barred owls, but this thing sounded like R2D2 with like a whistle and a hoot and all sorts of things. And I was like, what is that? Like, but my immediate sense was like, oh my gosh, we stepped into some like den and we weren't supposed to be here. And that was the alarm, if you will.
right.
And this Bigfoot researcher was like, it's just a barred owl. Don't worry about it. What I'm getting at is they're so good at mimicking sounds. And it's like, how do we know that that was a barred owl? That's what later on, as I reflected on my experience, that's where I was like, man, are we sure that's a barred owl? Because that sounded crazy for an owl to produce. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah, and I've been out there. I've heard them mimic coyotes. I've never really heard them do an owl, but other birds.
yeah,
Have you heard the clicking? Where they're like snapping something together, or
that or like, yeah, like
fingers,
teeth chomp,
maybe a teeth chomp, or maybe
clicking.
they're snapping their fingers real quick. You know what I mean? But
I've not personally had that, but I am aware that they will produce all sorts of sounds.
oh yeah,
Which is, I had a buddy actually show me that if you kind of go like, oh, with your mouth and like clap, you can really get like a good, real timber sound. And maybe that's what they're doing instead of a wood knock, perhaps.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I talked to a
interesting
witness
stuff
who
they
actually
do.
saw him do it. He said it went like this,
Yeah,
like it popped its
yeah,
mouth, made a popping sound with its mouth. I've
yeah,
always wondered if maybe that's what they're doing because I've had them happen feet from me, and I'm looking around, and it's pitch black, of course. And I'm looking around, I'm going, okay, where did that just come from? That came from just feet from me, and I'm like, there's no
yeah,
Bigfoot here. I'm shining my light around. I'm like, there's nothing there. Where did that just come from?
yeah.
And I know it wasn't a wood knock. It was something else. So
I mean, it's amazing. I was in Mexico one time, and verbally, obviously not verbally, but like I heard the howling monkeys of Mexico,
mm,
and that to me was like they're so loud.
yeah, I bet.
And the fact that their throat gorges itself, like it's just like I liken it to the fact that because Bigfoot's to me is most likely primate of some kind, like
Right,
it's got that extra muscle and throat tissue to make some crazy, crazy sounds.
right, right. All right. So tell us a little bit about your book. What got you into designing a kid's book and wanting to kind of teach kids?
I really wanted to, I mean, selfishly, I was thinking at the time that was the capacity at which I could write a book, where it had to be a children's book. There had to be drawings because that's all I could produce. I am working on a young adults novel. So put that out there if anyone's interested. But yeah, so this really was just a love of creating a book about Bigfoot, where this young child, Billy, has a love for the forest, has a love for adventure, has a love for studying the leaves and the rocks and the animals that he sees in the woods. And he tries to draw pictures of all the things that he does see, but then trying to also share some life lessons that I think are just as important for adults, like really valuing what you have in front of you and not taking things for granted. That's a really hard lesson, I think, even for adults to learn. But I wanted to try to get that message out there earlier for children and trying to get them understanding that, life is a bit hard, it's a bit challenging. You might not always get what you want, which is seeing a rare white fox, which is actually what Billy is truly trying to find. But instead, someone or something comes along the way, like a Bigfoot, and that's the greatest mystery of all.
Right.
So those are some of the lessons that I was trying to share. But ultimately, just I love to draw and I love to create, and I wanted to produce something that was physical and tangible, and I could pass on and share, and if I'm reaching out to hopefully the next generation of Bigfooters, well, then like that's that. I wanted that to be my target audience.
Right. And that next generation is going to be the group that, not only will they have a lot more technology to use,
Oh my gosh.
but
Yeah.
they will have a better chance of possibly documenting and getting better evidence and hopefully protecting these things.
Yeah. Right on.
They're not just killed. I mean, in Texas, in a lot of states, you can kill a Bigfoot, and it's
Yep.
not murder or anything. It's just you can do it.
Yeah.
There are people out there that do go hunt Bigfoot, and
Yeah. Do you agree with that, Matt?
no, I don't. Sorry, my phone's going crazy here. But yeah, no, I don't agree with that at all. I don't think that people should be hunting them. Unfortunately, at some point, we're going to have to produce a body.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't want to. This is more for kids, so I don't want to get into too much details. But let's just say Big Brother. I don't believe Big Brother wants us to find out what's really in the woods. So
Sure.
yeah, that's the scary part about it. They'll come in and take it from you if you actually did produce something real, that people could physically say, oh my gosh, it's real.
Yep.
And science could actually take and do something with it and go, okay, yeah, okay, we now consider this to be a real thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, that goes for any paranormal creature. But
Yeah. There's definitely some. I don't even know if you want to call them conspiracy theories, but there are theories that the military knows of them, especially with the eruption of Mount St. Helens, that there were bodies discovered from that eruption that the military, was trying to cover up. There's been so many stories, not so many perhaps, but like there's definitely stories about black ops coming in with the helicopters as someone has just had a Bigfoot sighting. So yeah, it's and as far as the science, like I think there's science out there that already proves that they're real, such as Jeff Meldrum out there showing that they're what a single track could provide as far as the locomotion of the foot and everything like that. But we're just not. It's just not accepted yet. So yeah. So hopefully the next generation really, with the technology that you mentioned that is coming in, it's think of all the drone technology, or as infrared becomes cheaper. I mean, I remember when this was like you couldn't even get a FLIR for less than like 10 grand, and now they're only like what, a couple $100. Like that's not that bad.
yeah, well, some of the military technology out there, I've met several dozens and dozens of military personnel that are interested in this, and a lot of them start out with me and then go quickly back off and disappear because their superiors say, "Oh, no, you're not supposed to be doing that." But the technology brought to me and shown me, it is insane, and the military has so much clear as day. I mean, you can see 1,000 feet. You can see clear as day. It looks just like day with the night vision technology you have and the FLIR stuff they have. Holy moly! I mean, it's millions of dollars worth of technology. I mean, cameras that are $100,000 that they use out in the field, but you can see, at least 1,000 feet, if not more, right through trees, right through all that stuff. You can see exactly where everything is, and the drones that they have.
Yeah.
I mean, if they really wanted to, I mean, it would be really easy to prove Bigfoot exists at this point in time. If we could get the technology that they have. I mean, we do a quick flyover and yep, there they are.
That's right.
You would see them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah. So what areas do you research if you have a research location? I mean, what
If
states are? Do you stay in one spot, or do you move around?
I move around, not necessarily by choice. So being in the Midwest here, you know, you can go to Illinois, you can go to Wisconsin. They're up in northern Minnesota. It's really, I mean, so where I've gone to answer your question is been predominantly the Oregon area, Mount Hood, Gifford Pinchot out of Washington. I've also gone to, again, Los Alamos out of New Mexico. I've done an expedition out of the Sam Houston National Park in Texas.
No, right on. That's my neck of the woods.
Was yeah, so
Yeah,
it's like you wouldn't think that they'd be so close to Houston, but
yeah,
that there's
yeah.
some reports there, um, as well as Iowa, and so now I think my next couple of journeys might be out east, but kind of all over. And it doesn't really matter, for your audience and perhaps those who are just tuning in. It doesn't necessarily matter. You don't necessarily have to live in the forest. You could have an experience just taking out your trash is what I always kind of like to say, and just depending upon the right area. If there's a food source, if there's shelter, if there's water, anything that could basically house a large-ish animal, they're most likely there. And sometimes I find it super hard to believe that anything is, anything is perhaps in a very flat area or non-forested, but there are reports coming out of, say, like the Dakotas, where it's super flat, there's no forest or nothing, but yet they're there. So it's kind of nuts.
Right. Well, going back to Houston, yeah, a lot of people still report Bigfoots in Houston. It's
Yeah.
amazing. I mean, I talked to a guy. He lives not in downtown Houston, but he lives on the outskirts, and there's
Yeah.
forest around where he lives. I mean, Houston's very forested. People don't realize
It,
how much
it's
forest is
quick. Yeah.
around.
Right. Yeah.
It's still, I mean, Houston, this whole half of Texas where I live in the Bryan College Station area, but
Hmm.
it's about 90 minutes from Houston. We're northwest of Houston. But if
Okay.
you cut Texas in half. This half of Texas is very forested,
Yeah.
all the way from the coast all the way up to the panhandle, and it's very very filled with Bigfoots. But yet you go down into that area, even Houston, even in rural areas of Houston, even around where I live, there's Bigfoot reports. I mean, I
Yeah.
have something in my backyard. I don't know what it is. I put a podcast out about it the other day. Monsters in my backyard. I don't know what
Yeah.
the heck it is, but with the big amber eyes. But yeah, I mean, yeah, they're everywhere. They can live anywhere. I mean, they can literally. People talk about them dumpster diving and stuff like
That's
that.
right. Yep.
Parks, they see them come in and steal food out of the camps. They come into camp sometimes.
Yep.
They'll steal food out of people's lunch boxes or coolers or whatever. So anyways, but yeah, let's see. So what evidence have you guys been able to find? I know you talked about earlier about hearing some audio evidence. Have you found anything else besides audio evidence?
So we have found footprints, but nothing is as, the holy grail of footprints as some of those casts that are already out there, in circulation, pictures and things like that. You know, it's really hard to get dermal ridges as evidence. That's you got to have the right mud. You literally need to be on the tracks of that Bigfoot to kind of get that type of detail. So candidly, nothing like that. And to circle back, dermal ridges are like the fingerprints of like your fingertips or your toes, just for those who might not be familiar with that term. But other than footprint, everything's been either trees got knocked down, I got, again, growled at, or there was a stone or a rock. This was a large rock thrown through the trees, again, near the Mount Hood area. And the other one that I would say is still like on the questionable side is what the big glowing amber orbs that tend to be in the same area are, because I've experienced that twice, one of which was in Sam Houston. The other one was in Los Alamos, but that I'm not seeing a Sasquatch produce that, so I don't know if I can
Yeah,
correlate those two or not.
right. Yeah, it's just some kind of energy. In my research, I found out that basically almost everywhere Bigfoots are, there's UFO sightings. There's ghost hunting. Ghosts in that area too. I mean, people don't know
Yep.
the same Houston National Forest is also haunted. And
Yeah.
so UFO reports in that area. So, I mean, you just go to the Saratoga Ghost Lights. Guess what also is there? Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And that's,
It's
in the same area.
and do you, I mean, for your viewpoint, Matt, do you think that there's correlation there, or are they all
I don't know.
energy, like you
I'm
said?
starting to find that the 3, 4, maybe even Dogman is even in that area sometimes. And then you start to put other cryptid creatures into that area too. It's just like all this stuff is happening in these same areas. What is up with that? I mean, like I used to go to a place called Black Star Canyon out in Santa Ana Mountains out in California in the Cleveland National Forest.
Yeah.
And there was Bigfoot sightings. I had a lot of Bigfoot sightings out there. I had multiple encounters with them out there. Daytime, time, orbs.
Sightings. You've had sightings.
Sightings, yeah. Well, close encounters, unfortunately. Well, fortunately, but unfortunately, some of them were scary.
Yeah.
There was shadow people, black.
Yep. Yep.
There was
Yep.
ghosts. The lady in white was seen out there often. A lot of ghost hunting. We did a lot of ghost hunting out there, and then UFO sightings. So I mean, that place is just the more you do the research, it's like the more you start to go, okay, wait, are all these things kind of like wrapped in together? Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts, are they all? I got to the point where I got to a relationship with the ghosts at Black Star Canyon, and they would light up my K2. And I know a lot of people don't take K2s too seriously, but there's no EMF out there. There's no electricity out there. It's just open. It's just big open area.
Yeah.
No power, no nothing. Cell phones usually were turned off because they would get drained if they weren't turned off. And so they're lighting up the K2. I'm like, have you seen a big hairy creature out here tonight? As stupid as that sounds,
Yeah.
light up. And it's like, okay. And then you hear like a tree knock. You hear,
Yep.
oh, yep, there they are.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just starting to wonder if all that stuff kind of mishes and mashes together. So
I mean, yeah, I would say that they do. I mean, I think that's some. I mean, the energy aspect of it. I mean, this is where I think that there's plenty of literature out there that kind of describes this. I mean, I kind of am thinking of like the Giants, Cannibals, and Monsters, like Bigfoot and Native Culture by Kathy Moskowitz. That to me is a very good book. I mean, it talks more so about the lure of it, but that book in particular really goes in well into like just the history, frankly, of where Bigfoots and culture has come from, especially for the Native Americans or Indians. And, it's always been here is kind of always the narrative, just like spirits, perhaps just like aliens. I mean, it's those things probably terrify me more than a Bigfoot, but
right? Always fun to get scared by a ghost.
yeah, yeah, no, it's and the clingers are horrible. You don't want to deal with them.
Oh boy. So what are your future Bigfoot plans? Do you have any expeditions coming up that you can talk about, or do you have any plans?
I mean, I want to do some more research in Wisconsin area, but then obviously get more out east. I've got a friend out there who's near like the Maine, New Hampshire area, and
nice.
some of the Blue Ridge Mountains over there. And so I guess it would be interesting, kind of get the take on the East Coast, and I think that's where I'm headed next.
Awesome. Well, that sounds awesome. All right, cool. Well, do you have anything else you want to share with us before we go?
I mean, if I could give a quick plug on where you can find me.
Of course.
Yeah, so you can find me at Pine Shadow Design. That's my Instagram handle. You can also look at some of the designs and Bigfoot things that I have going on my Etsy shop. Again, Pine Shadow Design, same thing. Definitely try to find my book, Billy Finds Bigfoot. You can find that at hangeronepublishing.com or Amazon. But yeah, that's reach out, say hi, and get connected.
Definitely. And I have a neighbor next door. He's 5 years old. He's all into Bigfoot. I'm going to actually buy him that book.
That's awesome.
It'll be fun for him because he's always talking to me about going Bigfooting. And I think he might be just a little too young because I don't want him to get scared.
That's right.
your book would be probably perfect for him to start out with and kind of maybe start to learn a little bit. But he knows all about tree knocks and all this other stuff, and he's really into it. So, anyways, well, thank you so much for coming on. His links will be down below, guys, to all his sites and stuff like that. So we will be publishing that in our description. So if you guys have any questions about his books, where you can get his book, or if you want to contact him, or even buy a shirt or some cool stuff that he has some really cool designs and stuff, some hats and stuff like that. Feel free to go down there and check out his store. And we will basically be publishing that for you guys to see. And if you guys like this video, go back and watch my video up here, and we'll be sharing that with you guys about the Bigfoot in my backyard, or I call it the monsters in my backyard.
Definitely.
So, Kev, thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate you coming on and telling us about your book and all that other stuff and your experiences. And we will have you on probably in the future to talk about it.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay, thank you so much. And we will catch you guys on the next one.